Hello, everybody, and welcome to a brand new episode on the Pole Position YouTube channel. Now, recently I've been doing Pole Position podcasts, not with the video, but just via the audio with the new mic setup here. But I thought today, with the news that has come around in the F1 world, that I'd actually just put a video out today and just discuss a few things that are going on in the world of Formula One. Now, obviously, the impacts that the sort of coronavirus that's still going around the world right now, and in the UK as well, is having an effect on Formula One. Obviously at the start we had races being cancelled or postponed to a later date, but now the virus is still sort of carrying on. Obviously we're looking into easing lockdowns here in the UK. Other countries have started to do that the same. But now it's sort of prolonged a little bit longer. We are seeing some effects of that in the sport. So I'm just going to go through a few of them, and obviously the main point in this video is obviously the news coming out of Williams today, so I'm going to be discussing that as well. So yeah, let's get into it. So the first news, of course, and obviously the main reason I'm actually doing this video, is the news this morning that Williams, well, a couple of things. Williams obviously are looking maybe to put the actual Formula One team up for sale after having a loss of around 13 million last year. And of course, as well, today, with immediate effect, have lost their title sponsor of Rocket. So yeah, a lot of big news coming out of it today. Obviously, looking into it, the wider group. I was just reading from the article. The Williams Formula One team and wider company group are up for sale after posting a 13 million loss last year. Which is a huge amount for a team that's not like an engine manufacturer. It is one of the last remaining actual Formula One teams that was built from the ground up and not been like from big companies like Mercedes, like Ferrari. So it's huge. I've grown up watching Williams. Obviously the successes that they've had as well. Watching their win in Barcelona with Pastor Maldonado was absolutely incredible. I mean, the last 10 years ago, well, less than 10 years ago, you look at Valtteri Bottas and Felipe Massa in that team and in them cars, and I remember the Silverstone a few years ago when they literally just flew past the Mercedes, and it was like, wow, this team, the Williams team, are competing with the engine manufacturers, the best teams. But like last year, was a terrible season. I mean, they've had a couple of years of terrible seasons, and we know that, and we've discussed that obviously in previous podcasts and obviously videos and things that have gone wrong for Williams in the last few years. But a 13 million loss for a team like Williams is absolutely huge, and obviously this as well as taken an effect. Claire Williams, deputy team principal, says Frank has always ensured he puts the team, business and our people first, and that's what we're doing now. So obviously highlighting that the team is up for sale. She said that their aim was to secure the team's future through internal investment. Now, I think obviously this is a story that's just come out, so I don't really want to give too much on this, because I think more stuff will come out in the next few days. So maybe in a video next week we can go into more depth, but yeah, I think they need somebody, and it sounds strange now because of the fact that he was actually involved with the team at some point previously, but they need like a Lawrence Stroll, somebody that came in to help Racing Point when they were in financial trouble. Obviously he came in, became like a sole investor for the team, and has sort of lifted that team up now. Look at it, he's also bought Aston Martin, so next season, if everything still goes ahead, he will be sort of the main man, and the team of Racing Point will become Aston Martin F1 Racing, which is something exciting. So they need somebody like that, and obviously he was internal investment before with his his son's can't speak today. His son Lance Stroll being in the team. So obviously, like she's put there, we're looking for internal investment. We're obviously looking for maybe people to bring more money in. Sir Frank is no longer involved in the day-to-day running of the team. I think that was something that we sort of knew anyway. Like, we knew that Claire was sort of although it was deputy team principal, we knew that Claire was in charge more than Frank. I think that was sort of obvious anyway. Frank is always aware of and up to speed with every decision the board takes and is supportive. And it's really sad, isn't it, to see that this is what is happening. And obviously, the virus has had an impact, but obviously the performances that the team's had over the last couple of years has also made an impact as well. Wants to secure the future for the team. So like I said, I think this is something that's going to be, over the next few days, a bit more news stories going to come out. Like I said, they also announced that they terminated its sponsor arrangement with Rocket, and it was effective immediately on their Twitter page. That again is something else going into it. Season hasn't even started really for Formula One, and they've already lost their title sponsor. The car design, really, the livery of the design was made around. Actually, it was really nice this year, but it was made around the sort of the sponsorship as well. So I think they've confirmed that there will be obviously a livery change for when the season does restart. Hopefully that's in July in Austria, but they will get a new design because most of the car was that main sponsor. So I think it's more blue and getting rid of the red. I think that obviously with Rocket being more of a red sort of sponsor, but yeah, so really sad actually to talk about this, and like I said, it probably will be a bit more in depth as more things are announced. But like, Williams is one of the most successful teams in Formula One history. We all know that. I watched the documentary. It might still be on Netflix, I'm not sure, but the Williams documentary, and that was an amazing documentary to see it from sort of beginning to where it has been in the last few years. I think that documentary came out in 2018 or 2017. So to pick up that from that point, and obviously like we said, the last few years have been really tough. Last year was as bad as it has been. Robert Kubica and George Russell literally just being lapped for most of the race, and it was literally between the two of them. And to be fair, most of the time it was actually just George Russell on his own, because I think he was better in the races than Robert Kubica. So yeah, I mean, look, the 80s and 90s were huge for Williams. We know that. I've got a list here of multiple championships. Alan Jones, Keke Rosberg, Nelson Piquet, Nigel Mansell, Alain Prost, Damon Hill, all these great racing drivers. And like I said, even racing drivers that have happened recently. Obviously like Felipe Massa coming in and doing a decent job at Williams, Valtteri Bottas as well, in his career before he hit Mercedes. George Russell was a great Mercedes young driver. They've got in Nicholas Latifi this year, and they haven't even got in to have a first race of the season, and things are already looking difficult for Williams and for them two young drivers as well. I mean, Latifi must have been thinking at the start of the season, great, I'm in a Formula One team now, let's pick this up, let's rebuild Williams. And there looks like a few issues could be in the team, like I said, before the first race has even took place. I'm just having a look to see if there's anything else in sort of the news articles that broke this morning. I was shocked, with the news. I mean, obviously I knew that their profit margin wouldn't be great, with the seasons that they have and being at the back all the time. But in the announcement, Williams have also revealed they've chosen to end their relationship with title sponsor Rocket and their major sponsor Rock Drinks. Oh, so two sponsors as well. So Rocket was like the main sort of design, but they must have had like Rocket Drinks as well or something. I don't know. I don't know. I don't even know what Rocket is, to be honest. But in terms of the finance for Williams, that's not good. So like I said, I think more details will come out about it, and maybe we see somebody actually putting some investment in the team or some bids in for the team as well, which I think will be important. But yeah, we don't want to see Williams coming off the grid. The last thing the sport needs at the minute is a racing team not being on the grid. I mean, we've complained over the last few years that there haven't been enough teams coming into Formula One, and obviously that's what the regulations are for the future, with them being announced. I think it's 2022 now that they're now being announced, and sort of less money as it goes along. So hopefully we see newer teams coming into the sport, but we can't afford to lose any as well, and especially a team with the history of Williams Formula One. So hopefully the team finds some investment and is able to sort of stay afloat in the sport. I think it's really disappointing actually, because I thought Williams would do all right this year. I still think they'd be in and around the back of the grid, but I still thought they might be able to compete with some of the mid-table teams this year, and with two young drivers driving the team and pushing the team more. I did see a little bit of promise for Williams this year, and obviously that still might be the case, but there is that niggling feeling with them coming out and saying we need this support, we're putting the team up for sale. or we could be putting the team up for sale, then we know that obviously there is issues behind the scenes. So yeah, the main thing, and I think that maybe Liberty Media and Formula One have to get involved in, if it comes to it. They can't afford to lose another Formula One team. We've seen HRT, we've seen Manor, and Caterham as well. We can't afford to lose these teams. And Racing Point was another one, but luckily they managed to find sponsorship. So. An investment. So yeah, I mean, not good news coming out of Formula One altogether really at the minute, but this is a major one. I mean, a couple of other things. Obviously the Dutch Grand Prix has been cancelled due to the pandemic. They didn't even think about sort of postponing it to later in the year. They didn't want it behind closed doors. They just thought the best thing to do would be to cancel it until next year, because I think that their main draw was obviously they wanted the race with fans in it, and of course we want all races to have fans in it, but they especially, because it's the first time since I think 1985, for the first time since 1985 that the Dutch Grand Prix would have been on the calendar. Max Verstappen fans galore. Tickets would have sold out. I think tickets obviously had sold out, but tickets will always sell out when Max Verstappen's in the team, in the sport. So I understand their decision, and I think it's the right one for them. I think they have to have the race for the first time behind closed doors, with fans in it. I'll get that out. They have to have the race with fans in it. The Dutch Grand Prix sports director, Jans Lammers, I want to say that's right, said we're completely ready for the race. But we look forward to it. We've been looking forward to it for 35 years, so I think we can wait another year. So yeah, obviously the Dutch Grand Prix has been cancelled altogether, and hopefully we're going to see a few races this year. Actually, me and my friend Jamie Davis also did a video that I posted on YouTube, so it'll be the last video on this channel before this one now pops up, and it was just talking about if there was only 8 races this year on the calendar, because that's all you need for a championship season, which tracks and which countries would you go to have to pick your minimum or maximum of 8 races? So we did that video, so that will be the last video that will be on the channel, so please check that out, and also let us know which tracks you would have had as well. But yeah, the Dutch Grand Prix has been cancelled for this year. Interestingly, Hockenheim was not on the original schedule, but it's still on standby in case they want to do that track this year, which could be interesting, because I really do like the German Grand Prix. I always think it sort of throws things up into the air. I mean, last year's was incredible, so I think that would definitely be a decent one to have. And just quickly, also in terms of another Formula One team, we obviously had the beginning of this week that McLaren would be cutting a few jobs in their team. I think most of it was from the sports car section, but I think a few were from the Formula One team. And obviously Renault, there's been talks about them as well today. They're cutting 15,000 jobs as part of the cost-saving plan because of the sales plummeting for what's been happening with the sort of the coronavirus. But the interim chief of Renault said, "We confirm that we intend to stay in Formula One. We are here and we stay." So they're just sort of cementing that even though they are cutting jobs, they will remain in Formula One, which might be a bit of a sort of a touchy subject, just because they're cutting jobs and Formula One is such an expensive sport. So I mean, that could be a touchy thing today, but they are adamant that obviously they do want to stay in the sport. And I think with the investment that they've already put in already, I think it would be a shame for them to sort of bow out in this way. But again, like I said, they have to F1 have to make sure that we don't lose teams at the minute, because at this rate we'll just be driving around with Mercedes, Ferrari and Red Bull, which won't be good at all. But yeah, like I said, Renault confirm that they will be staying in Formula One. I think the main thing of this video is, like I said, we don't want to be losing teams in the sport. I think Williams is a bit of a shock in terms of the fact that they're saying that they want to sort of are looking to maybe put the team up for sale. Hopefully that doesn't happen. We still want Frank Williams to be around. I think Claire Williams does a decent job as well for the issues that Williams have been having as a whole. So yeah, I think they need to remain in the sport, and hopefully we see obviously Williams on the grid this year, and going up the order, if that were, and trying to get some money back into the company. But like I said, that's the end of this quick video. I hope you guys enjoy it. Please let me know your thoughts, what you think about the Williams situation, and obviously what's been happening in Formula One at this moment in time, and again as well, when will we be seeing racing in Formula One? Of course, we've seen announcements that this could be happening, this could be happening, and this could be happening, but we don't confirm officially the sort of calendar that's going on. So yeah, let me know your thoughts on that as well. Thank you guys for watching. Like the video if you've enjoyed it, and like I said, leave a comment and subscribe to the Pole Position YouTube channel. That would be great. But otherwise, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in another video very soon.